23-year-old Emmanuel Sandhu getting ready, limbering up. Remember, he won the Grand Prix final in Colorado Springs last month. Now he's going for gold at the Four Nations Figure Skating Championships at Cop Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario. Those are the flags of the nations that are represented here at these championships. As for Canada in the men's competition, well, Brian Orser has moved on. Kurt Browning has moved on. Elvis Stojko has moved on. That means that somebody's got to skate from the shadows into the light. Could it be 23-year-old Emmanuel Sandhu, originally from Toronto, Ontario? It seems he is now ready, been given the green light to turn red and white into gold.
I come to the rink, and if I leave satisfied, I know that I've put in a good day, and that's what I strive to do each day. So once you get a little taste of that satisfaction, then you hunger for it a little bit more, and you make each day that challenge. That's the way I approach my life, and that's the way I approach my skating now, is that I want to be completely satisfied. I want to leave with a feeling of happiness and just positive energy when I leave the rink. I want to feel like I put in all that I can. Well, I mean, I'm always growing as a person. I don't ever want to be stagnant. I don't ever want to stand still in one place. I think it's important for myself. This is my philosophy on life, is just to develop each day as a human being, and I think everything else sort of can stem from that in a positive way. I take my training very seriously now, and I know that it's extremely important. It's a different, you've got your raw talent, you've got your raw physical ability. That's one aspect of talent, but you know, another talent which counts for about 50% of people's success nowadays is about work ethic, and that's a talent as well. That's a good formula for success. That's what you need in your recipe, those two ingredients.
And what?
Yes, you did.
Shut up.
Are you positive? Are you positive?
If I think of my life in different phases, and not to trivialize my skating at all, but it is one phase of my life. But I think the underlying common denominator of my life will be performing, will be as an artist of some sort. It's in my bones, it's in my blood, and it's something that I have been born with, and I'm blessed with the gift of performing. And I think that where I am at my life right now, I'm doing that as a skater. I don't want to remain at a standstill in my life. I don't want to be stagnant. I want to develop as a person, as a skater, as an artist, as a performer, as a human being. That's really important to me. I don't want to close the door on anything, and I don't want to be narrow-minded, and I don't want to look in just one direction, because sometimes you're going to miss something, and if you don't turn your head to look back and see what you've missed, and you can't learn from that, you can't develop. And that's extremely important for me as an athlete as well as a person.
Emmanuel Sandhu was 8th at the last World Figure Skating Championships. He tries for a gold medal here at the Four Continents Figure Skating Championships in Hamilton, Ontario. By the way, the ice here at the Copps Coliseum, normally used by the Hamilton Bulldogs of the American Hockey League, but the ice in figure skating is 5 degrees warmer or softer than it is for hockey, so the skaters can get the good grip on the ice. Figure skating coming up. Emmanuel Sandhu of Canada. The power of one is a lonely place to be. To hit the mark, make it stick. Stand alone as the man to beat.
Back at the Copps Coliseum, where the men's short program is still to come here in Hamilton, featuring the top 3 men from the Canadian Championships in Edmonton, including the Canadian champion and Grand Prix final champion, Emmanuel Sandhu, whose unpredictable performances appear to be a thing of the past. The question, Barb, can he win 3 in a row?
Well, you know, Emmanuel does seem to have found that magic formula that has been elusive to him in the past. A win here would be huge for him in terms of his confidence and also in establishing him as a contender going into the World Championships.
What about the other 2 Canadian contenders, Paul?
Ben Ferrara comes off probably the greatest personal highlight with his performance at the Canadian Championships, where he captured silver medal. So I'm sure he's looking to ride that wave of confidence here at this competition. We also have to keep an eye on Jeffrey Buttle, who was stricken by food poisoning at the Grand Prix final, had to withdraw. At the Canadian Championships, he didn't quite look like he was back to form. So let's hope that he's got the strength and the confidence to skate well here at the Four Continents.
And there are 8 required elements in the men's short: 1 jump combination, 2 separate elements, a triple axel and triple lutz expected, 2 step sequences, 2 spins, and a spin combination.
Our next competitor.
Here's Ben Ferreira from Edmonton, the silver medalist 2 weeks ago at the Canadian Championships in Edmonton, a two-time Canadian bronze medalist who nearly quit after a 5th place finish 2 years ago, but was talked into staying by Elvis Stojko, and his career is on the rebound.
Well, Ben is certainly going to cut right to the chase with this program because he opens with an extremely difficult combination. He's going to attempt a quad toe, triple toe combination.
And the first time he landed it was at the Canadian Championships 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
Well, that moment at the Canadian Championships was the biggest moment, I'm sure, of his skating career, and it's got to be so hard after that huge moment to come back. There's the triple axel. He was way off in the air.
He's rattled.
Yeah.
Yeah, his free skate in Edmonton was so explosive and the highlight of the event in front of his hometown crowd. And it's a rough start here in Hamilton. Now he's back on track.
Very quick, very edgy straight line step sequence.
Ben Ferreira from Edmonton, the Canadian silver medalist, in a shaky beginning to this Four Continents Championship.
From Canada, Ben Ferreira.
We talked about coming off that high in just 2 weeks to do it. It's tough on skaters to do that, isn't it?
It's really hard when you've had the excitement, the adrenaline rush of a performance like he delivered at Canadians. And here's his quad. You're going to see it's leaning. Right side is down. And anytime you don't maintain a nice vertical position in the air, you're going to have trouble on the landing. Here's another look at it. You can see he falls. His right hand makes contact with the ice first. And then he didn't quite settle down enough for this triple axel. It's actually over. It's too big. It's too big a jump, and he has trouble landing it. Although the mistakes he had in this program are going to cost him 0.7, I liked the way he has had so much more refinement and character and personality in his skating, and it really shone through out there tonight.
He's really reinvented himself with Doug and Michelle Lee. Made the move 2 years ago.
And the range of marks for required elements pretty low, 4.0 to 4.7.
Marks please for presentation.
And for presentation, 4.8 to 5.5. So there's the silver lining in the short program for Ben Ferreira of Edmonton.
Canada's Ben Ferreira.
And that will rank him in second place behind the young man from Japan, Daisuke Takahashi, who skated earlier.
Our next competitor.
Jeffrey Buttle out of Sudbury, Ontario. He was third at the Canadian Championships in Edmonton. the Four Continents champion in 2002. He's had to deal with all kinds of disappointment lately. Food poisoning forced him to pull out of the Grand Prix final last month in Colorado Springs. He was weakened at the Canadian Championships, but he looked terrific in the warm-ups here today.
Not making the world team for Jeffrey has to be a huge disappointment, especially in light of the great results he had early in the season. So this really is his final competition of the year. Opens with the quad. Not the one he was looking for.
So far this evening, it's been one of those nights when there are nights when everybody comes out and hits everything. Tonight is one of these nights for the men where nobody has managed to hit the big ticket combination.
Yes, this ice has been strewn with falls all over the place.
And he hangs on to the triple axel.
Excellent speed, good change of position in that spin.
It was in this competition last year where Jeffrey landed his first quad in competition. We talk about the food poisoning. He lost 7 pounds in Colorado Springs, and he looked weak 3 weeks later in Edmonton.
Triple Lutz.
Well, now he's on his game.
Well, it's great to see that even though he had the mistake on the combination, he didn't let it rattle him, and he's managed to put down, aside from that, a very strong skate here.
He's got great charisma, doesn't he?
And great choreography. He has really received very high praise for his 2 programs this year, choreographed by David Wilson.
Jeff Buttle. Toppin said it's not the mistakes, but how you recover. What a finish.
That program really seemed to gain momentum. He got the quad combination out of the way, and from then on, it was just a performance. It was great.
The partisan crowd here giving him a really nice applause for the performance. And even with the mistake in the quad, he can step off the ice, I think, and say to himself that that's where I want to be. That's where I should have been at the Grand Prix final. That's what I'm capable of doing, and he'll have the confidence and carry that through into the free skate final. Here's the quad, quarter turn cheat, doesn't get out of it in time. You're going to see the takeoff here. Gets it up into the air, not badly, but right there, you see the right foot land and try to continue the rotation of the jump on the ice. His next jump element was the triple axel. You're going to watch on the landing. His left foot just squeaks through, which is great. Shows good patience in getting that jump landed.
Ladies and gentlemen, marks please for Jeffrey Buttle on Canada.
What you have to love about Jeff is that he's always pushing himself. He has that resolve to take the risks that are rewarded these days in the sport of figure skating. Waiting his marks in the short program with Coach Lee Barkell on the right, Doug Lee on the left, and for required elements. Range of marks 4.9 to 5.4.
And when you factor in a removal of at least 0.4 for the fall, if he'd not made the mistake, he'd have had some marks that look just like those.
Look at that, 5.9s. Two of them for presentation. That puts a smile on this young man's face. Jeffrey Buttle of Canada, skating out of Barrie, the U of T engineering student, moves into first place. Jeffrey Buttle's rival, the balletic Canadian champion, Emmanuel Sandhu, still to come at the Four Continents Championship. Emmanuel Sandhu with some final words of advice from Coach Joanne McLeod. He's next, but first the current leader, Jeffrey Buttle, with Brenda Irving.
Thanks, Mark. Jeffrey, you had a little bit of problem early in that program. How were you able to turn it around?
I think from training this year, being able to turn it around is something that we need to sort of get consistent. So if I fell in the program on practice, then I would go for the axle and really stick to the plan.
This has been a really tough year on you. How have you managed to stay focused, stay mentally positive?
I think it was really tough after the national championships. Obviously, it didn't finish up how I wanted it to, but again, there's a competition right after here at the Four Continents, so you just have to refocus and really concentrate on this competition.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next competitor,
In the space of 1 month, Emmanuel Sandhu defeated the world champion Evgeny Pashenko in the Grand Prix final and then defended his Canadian crown. He is the three-time and current Canadian champion, and he's blossomed from a skater who can be brilliant one day and a disaster the next. He's now delivering under pressure.
He looked very focused, very serious on the warm-up.
His coach has noticed added maturity and an improved work ethic in training.
This rink has been good to Emmanuel. This was the very rink in 1998 at the Canadian Championships when he skated brilliantly to put himself in a position to be on the Olympic team, but because he hadn't qualified to COA standards, he was not allowed to go to Nagano, so he should feel very comfortable out here.
Some say that decision set him back.
He's opening with the quad toe, triple toe combination. Doubles it. Oh my. Not a good start. Next jump is the triple axel. He needs this. Well done. He did not get a good quad in the warm-up. He went around a couple of times and attempted it and just didn't get it in the warm-up, and you wonder if that was weighing on him going into it.
Emmanuel was asked if he's figured out how to compete now, and he said, no, I've learned how to train. And the key for him now will be to continue to train hard amid all the distractions and demands of a young man who should be considered a medal contender coming up in the World Championships.
Preparation is everything. When you step out on the ice under high pressure situations, if you're not prepared, you crack. Impressed with the fact that Emmanuel did not back down after the miss on the first combination. He has nailed the rest of this program. And you wouldn't have seen that in the past years.
Right now he's chasing Jeffrey Buttle, who is first in this men's short program. And he won't admit to having a rivalry with Jeff, saying the only duel I have is with myself. Emmanuel Sandhu, the 23-year-old reigning Canadian champion. And a good recovery after a botched opening.
And you know what, based on the strength of the other elements in the program, the spins, the footwork, the other jumps, he should still hang in there near the top of this group.
There was no quad, but what there was a program that displayed an intensity and a competitive edge that we've seen now for the last 3 major events that he's competed in, and that just goes to show that he really is getting a firm grip on what he has to do to stay competitive, even when he has a mistake along the way. Here's the quad, looks good going up, but right here he decides, no, it's not right, and he turns it into a double.
But then he came straight back, set himself up, and up into the air for the triple axel. In the past, he might have popped that, or he might have missed it. Footwork is, as always, second to none.
It'll be important to look at this first set of marks, and keep in mind when you look at it, there's about a 0.4 deduction in this first set of marks because of the mistake on the quad in combination. So tack on about 0.4, and you're going to see just where he would have been scored had he made the combination complete.
Here are the marks now for required elements for Emmanuel Sandhu, ranging from 4.2 to 5.5. And now the marks for presentation: 5.0 to 5.8, 3 5.8s, 5 5.7s.
This is going to make for a tight split of the panel between Emmanuel and Jeff Buttle.
Oh, not enough to pass Jeffrey Buttle. Emmanuel Sandhu in second place. The Canadians 1-2 here in the short. Hamilton in the midst of a cold snap that has gripped Southern Ontario as our coverage of the Four Continents Figure Skating Championships continues. And this was the scene earlier today at the Shidok Arena here in Hamilton. Two-time World Championship bronze medalist Takeshi Honda of Japan in practice. Honda came to Hamilton afflicted by a nagging ankle injury. It bothered him most of last season, then he was re-injured in November. Add to that, he's been hampered by shin splints, the result of a demanding training regimen of skipping and running. But after trying to perform here today, he and coach Doug Lee concluded it would be best to withdraw from the Four Continents Championships. So a tough break for Takeshi Honda. He has a bye to the World Championships, but the Japanese Federation is still to confirm their final lineup after this event, and that may cast some doubt on Takeshi Honda.
First, it's not my decision to the Federation will send me or not. That's the first thing. And if they say that they will send me, okay, I would take it easy, but, you know, get ready for it. And if I have to deal with pain, I guess I have to, you know. And I want to be champion. And, well, here I tried everything, but it was too soon.
Now the reigning Japanese champion, Yamato Tamura, 24-year-old out of Tokyo, has won the Japanese championship twice and is famous for his hairdos. He's sporting a skunk head type do this afternoon here in Hamilton, and is in a fight for a world championship berth. The Japanese Federation will decide after this event who gets the final berth. Honda already has a bye. Takahashi, who's already skated, is in a battle with him for that last berth.
With Honda withdrawing from this competition, I think the decision for the Japanese Federation has become even more cluttered, because I think they were counting on him to skate here just to see where he was at. So we'll really have to wait and see. Opening quad attempt.
First man to do it.
Hangs on. It wasn't pretty, but he did it. Connecting steps into the triple Lutz. Very
well
solid.
done. Excellent.
And to think that his last full training session back home before he left for Hamilton was on a rink with 25 other skaters, if you can believe it. Nobody else stopped skating while he went through his whole program. They just kept out of his way. Nobody got hurt. And the skaters, well, they said if they stand by the boards, they don't get enough ice time.
Skaters get to know other skaters' routines, and you know when to stand back and get out of the way. This is a jump that does give him some problems. The triple axel, and he doubled it.
It's important to remember, though, that the men have the choice in this short program of doing either a double or triple axel. So although there's no deduction, he simply won't score as highly on his base mark.
Well, he knows that the Japanese Federation is really favoring Daisuke Takahashi for that other berth right now. The young man with so much promise, and so he's really laying down a good skate here today to try to show them up.
And that was a very aggressive skate.
Yamato Tamura of Japan, the Japanese champion.
He went for it.
His coach all excited. Minoru Sano. This young man, can you imagine in Canada if the Canadian champion were in a battle for a world championship berth with a competitor who finished 4th in the national championship? That's the situation here between Tamura and his fellow countryman Daisuke Takahashi, who currently sits 6th in this short program.
It's the only one we've seen in this competition. Quad toe. Shows extreme patience there, waiting for everything to get into place before he puts the triple toe up, and he just hangs onto it. It's not the prettiest quad triple toe combination we've ever seen, but it is executed.
It's the only one.
You see a close-up of his feet here. He's going to land, bends that right knee down while he waits for the rest of his body to get in a position, and then he vaults the triple toe up into the air and just fights to hang on to the landing. The question that we have to look at here is, what he picked up on the quad, did he give back when he only did a double axel?
Let's see how the judges score it for Yamato Tamura of Japan, as we await his marks in required elements. Oh, the range, 5-1 to 5-7. Now presentation.
The marks, please, for presentation.
5-2 to 5-7.
14 different judges have scored this very differently, and we'll never know which 9 are actually contributing to the outcome here.
Oh, look
There's
at
your
this. Look at
outcome.
the ordinals. Enough to rank him 2nd here. Moving ahead of Sandhu and just behind Jeffrey Buttle of Canada. So Tamura is in the mix. Buttle and Sandhu of Canada 1st and 3rd. Jeffrey Buttle now with a chance to win his 2nd 4 continents in 2 years.
Well, they're on the ice and just about ready to go. Live pairs competition coming up from the 4 Continents Figure Skating Championships in Hamilton. Stay with us on Sports Saturday.